T minus 60 seconds. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome, everybody, to the 5 Foot Viking podcast, where we get to drink a beer and learn something new. I'm your host, Whit Petrell, and today we have a very special guest. She needs no introduction, even though I'm going to give her one anyways. Kathy Gruver, Dr. Kathy Gruver, has been a good friend now for about 4 years. We met in Cuba. She is a professional actor, a professional speaker. She's done TEDx talks. She's spoken on the Dr. Phil show. And she graduated from Harvard. She just knows she's extremely more smarter than I am, as you can tell by the way I worded that. But I think one of her greatest accolades is that literally about 5 weeks ago, she appeared on the very second episode of the 5 Foot Viking podcast. Kathy, welcome back to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, nobody cares about Dr. Phil. They're like, you were on the 5 Foot Viking?
I know, right? It's crazy. I am so glad that you are took some time out of your busy schedule to come down and spend some time with me, especially during this last week when things have been a little crazy. Things have been a little outside of my head. So the fact that we're going to be talking about meditation is just pretty fantastic. But before we jump into that, I wanted to ask you just really quickly, how did you get involved in meditation? And was it everything that you had expected it to be?
Oh, it was a journey. I'm a horrible meditator. I'm very type A. I'm very go. My mind goes a mile a minute. I'm an only child, anal retentive, triple Capricorn control freak who was raised by a dad who wanted a son. So yeah, I'm getting it at all sides, right? So I had all these people saying, you should meditate. Just as a side note, anything that starts with you should, just forget it. No one's listening to you at that point.
Exactly.
So people kept telling me I should meditate, but they didn't tell me how. They didn't tell me why. They didn't give me any information about why this would be beneficial to me. And I'm a why person. To me, it's like if I know the reason, then I'm more apt to do that thing, right? If you don't give me a good reason, why would I try that? Yeah. So I had all these misconceptions about meditation. I thought, you had to touch certain fingers, but I didn't know like which one. And I thought if you touched the wrong one, you got sucked into an alternate realm, like a video game or something like that. And you touched your tongue somewhere, teeth, palate, back of them. I don't know where that was. And then you had to look way back here, which always gave me a headache because your eyes were closed. And then, if it itched, you couldn't scratch it. And if it cramped, too bad. And then you floated away into a million bubbles. And I sucked at it. I mean, I was awful.
Wow, I thought I was an overthinker.
Well, but I didn't know how to do it. And, and when people first started mentioning this to me, there was no internet. I mean, you couldn't Google this stuff back then. So I was just left to my own devices. And there were so many times where I tried it. And, I'd pick a finger and hope for the best. The sitting thing I had down because I'm a dancer. So the cross-legged thing, that was easy for me. I'm like, yay, I got one part of that. And one of two things would happen. I'd sit down, I'd close my eyes, and I'd go, okay, you're thinking. Okay, quiet, you're thinking. Oh, God, you suck at this. This is stupid. Why are you even doing this? Oh, a car alarm? Seriously? A car alarm? Is there a car alarm? Is that my car alarm? Do I have a car alarm? I should get a car alarm. I'm living in LA. I should get oh no, I want a whole new car. I want a Beamer. I want a blue Beamer convert. And next thing you know, 20 minutes went by and I had this whole fantasy about this car that I was going to have, right? Or I'd sit down, I'd swear I was into it, and I'd go, "Ooh, I got to call that guy back." And I would jump off the pillow and I'd go call that guy back, which I thought was amazing, because if I was relaxed enough to remember my to-do list, this was great for this overachiever Capricorn, right? So I started calling it my to-do list meditation. And I told people about it until one day this woman goes, "I don't think that's what it's for." And I was really disappointed because I loved doing it. So it was a journey for me. Everything was pulling my attention. The thoughts were going a mile a minute.
Yeah.
To sit there and blank out my mind was impossible to me. And I thought it was pointless and stupid. My dad's
How old were you when you started this? Like, were you young, or was it 20s, teens?
I was in my 20s because I was living in LA when I was trying, because I was living in LA. So I was trying desperately to fit into this, evolved Hollywood mentality thing. And it was just terrible. And so that carried through for so many years, where anytime I'd sit down to meditate, it was just a failure and a struggle. And, my dad's motto was, "If I can't win, I don't want to play." So to me, why am I sitting here and struggling through this thing that's clearly uncomfortable, that's clearly not working for me? It sucked. I was terrible at it. And when I started working on my dissertation for my PhD, it was on mind-body connection. And I felt like such a hypocrite, because I was talking about the benefits of meditation and how great it was for you. And I realized I can't do this shit.
Oh, wow.
So when I went to Harvard to study with them, and they said, "Hey, today we're going to meditate," I thought, "Oh no, oh no, this is not going to go well." And that kind of launched the whole thing. And the meditation that they taught me at Harvard, I'm going to teach you guys today.
Oh, sweet. Well, I am really looking forward to this. But before we jump into learning about meditation, I need to physically get there, if you know what I mean. If everybody at home knows what I mean, my favorite segment of the podcast is where we get to drink a little bit, and then we get to learn something new. So I know that you're more of a wine drinker. So let us know, what kind of wine are you drinking today?
Yeah, so I happen to have this over. We had venison for dinner, and this went so perfectly. So I've got a Sausalito Canyon. It's called Rebel Rouser. And Sausalito Canyon, really cool story. They're in Arroyo Grande, and they were one of the few wineries that survived during Prohibition, because they are past the lake. They're like 10 miles down this road. So the authorities knew they existed, but had no clue where. So they were one of the few wineries that wasn't shut down. They have like 120-year-old vines. The people that brought the property that own it now were like clearing the land to plant something else, and found all of these vines and went, "Oh my God, there's grapevines here." So this is Old Vine Zin. So this is Rebel Rouser, which is about 90% Zin and about 10 or 15% Petite Syrah. And they're just such a nice winery. They have beautiful location, beautiful owners, and they were for the first wine club I ever joined. So I thought I'd pay a little homage to them today.
Oh, I like that. Me, not so much. Not so much of a story. I am drinking Stone IPA, which is Exotic Destinations IPA. It's 7.5%. This is my first time tasting this one. I actually went out and purchased a variety pack. I'm really not much of an IPA guy, and I know that it sounds cliche to say that. It sounds cliche to say that it sounds cliche, but but I've tried a few IPAs here and there, and they're just usually too much of a bite for my palate. But I figured I'd try this one. So skål. Here we go. All right. Okay. I think I can get behind this one. All right, and just to let everybody know at home who is watching, first and foremost, thanks for tuning in. Secondly, we love the interaction. We love seeing your comments. We love interacting with you and answering as many questions as we can. That being said, just so you guys know, if you are commenting and you want us to see it, you need to comment on the 5 Foot Viking page. If you're commenting on a page that has been shared, That's great. Thank you. Appreciate it. But unfortunately, we don't get to see it live. So if you want to ask a question live, and I mean, hey, we've got a podcast with a real doctor on here, so you get a chance to ask some questions here. Make sure you're tuning into the 5 Foot Viking Facebook page or the 5 Foot Viking YouTube page, and we'll be able to get to some of these. We got a couple people that are just loving the fact that we're doing this. I appreciate this. Brent, I'm getting ready for my meditation as well. Let's do this. I love it. My little sister, Woot. I love you. She has been not going to throw her laundry out there, but she's been inside her own head as well. And so she's personally told me she's really looking forward to this.
Yeah, good.
Skål to everyone at home. Skål. That means cheers in Viking. At least I think that's what I mean. So, all right. So let's dive into today's topic, which is let's talk meditation with Dr. Kathy Gruver. All right. This is going to be weird for me because normally I have an itinerary and I'm kind of in charge of stuff, and I'm literally outside of my comfort zone, letting you just take the reins because I trust you so much. So,
oh boy. I shouldn't have had that much wine. No, it's a fascinating conversation because, like I said in the opening, there's so many misconceptions about meditation. And for people who are like diehard, sit on the pillow meditators, to them, there's a very specific way to meditate. But to me, there's, not just to me, I mean, just realistically, there's multiple ways of doing it. Most people, when they think of meditation, they think about blanking out your brain, completely shutting out thoughts. And if you think something, you failed. That is so hard to do. And one of the people that I had the privilege of studying with was Thich Nhat Hanh, who is like the second most well-known monk next to the Dalai Lama. And he said there were days where he had trouble meditating because he couldn't turn off his brain.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, dude, you have one job, which is to meditate. So we don't have to, so if he had trouble doing it, then I could give myself a little bit of a break. Every 3 to 5 seconds, our brain has something really important to tell us. Yeah. And if it doesn't have something important to tell us, it just makes shit up. I mean, it just comes up with something. It'll hear a sound, it'll feel a body sensation. So it's hard to shut out those thoughts. That takes a lot of practice. I studied with an incredible guy called, oh God, now I'm blanking on his name. It'll come to me in a second. Anyway, I was studying with his meditation, and he studied with the Dalai Lama's meditation teacher.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's like top of the line right there.
That's top of the line. Daniel Brown, the professor, not the author. So Daniel Brown. And he used this great illustration of a dragon, and he had this beautiful tapestry with this dragon. And the point to him of meditation was the dragon is those thoughts. And when you're sitting in meditation, you want to do your best to catch those thoughts at the head of the dragon. You want to catch those thoughts as I see a thought coming, as opposed to suddenly, like me with the whole BMW driving up the coast, you have this trail of daydreaming. If you catch it at the tail, that's when you kind of go, oh crap, I didn't get it. If you can see those thoughts coming in and simply go, I was thinking, interesting, and let it go and come back to the meditation. That's what his view of it was. He was a much more strict meditator than some of the others I studied with. He did want you to sit with fingers like this, or I'm going to do that so you can see. Putting your hands like not resting on something, but actually having them up in the air. Because if you have an upright spine and you don't have a back to the chair and your hands are hovering, you can't fall asleep. And
I don't know. I've fallen asleep while playing music on stage. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
We call that narcolepsy.
Yes.
I'm not that kind of doctor. Meditation in its true form is not meant to relax you. It's a spiritual connection. It is to clear your mind to the extent that you can to find divine connection. Now, since that has happened, there's all these other types of meditation. There's something that I teach called the mini meditation, which is what I learned at Harvard, which I will teach you guys. There's being an observer, where you observe those thoughts as they go past. Well, what was I thinking and what? Oh, interesting. Oh, well, look, there goes another one. There goes another one. That's a form of meditation. You have things like Tai Chi and Qigong, which are moving meditations, walking meditation, mantras, or transcendental meditation, where you are assigned a mantra by a guru. So there's so many different kinds of meditation. I don't believe that there's one right way to do it. Everybody has a different view of how they're going to achieve what their goals are.
Now, you had mentioned earlier that it was about seeing, catching it at the head of the dragon, not at the tail. So does that mean that being there and meditating is more about being present and being very aware of your thoughts? And as the thought is coming, be intentional about what you do with the thought. So, because like you said about the, the BMW and all that stuff, I do the exact same thing. If I'm in any type of trying to meditate or trying to think about something comes along, and then next thing you know, I've got a to-do list I have to do tomorrow. And then, but I need to call this guy. I forgot to call that guy. I should call him right now. And I'm like, but I'm in the middle of something right now. So,
so you meditated the same way I did.
Exactly. So what I'm taking away from this is to be more present to the thoughts that you're having, but be present to them with intention of not going down the rabbit hole of I've got all these thoughts, but okay, I recognize that I have this. Okay, I have this thought. That's great, but stay centered, I guess. Is that a fair?
Yes, that is beautiful. That's exactly what it is. It's an awareness. It's a curiosity. And Jon Kabat-Zinn, who's one of the big wigs in meditation, who I also got to study with when I was at Harvard, he talks about a beginner's mind, engaging your senses with no judgment and just pure curiosity. And so there are times where I'll choose to meditate and I will do it with, let me just see what thoughts come through. That's weird. There's a thought about, that tax thing I have to get. Oh, that's it. There's a thought that, And it's just about being curious. And observing those thoughts without getting sucked into the daydream. Because I think we've all had that experience where, we're watching TV and we suddenly go, oh, shoot, 5 commercials went by. What happened? Or, we're driving on the freeway and we end up at our office on a day we're not supposed to be at our office. Or, we're reading and we read 5 pages and realize we have not seen any of it. That is our brain being mindless as opposed to being mindful, which is just paying attention to what is present for us in that moment, what is coming up in that moment, and being gentle with ourselves, acknowledging that thing is happening and going, I'm thinking about my cat from when I was 4. That's interesting. And then moving off to the next thing.
I know that you're seeing some of these comments too. I just wanted to jump into a couple of these. My little sister, Shivani, what's a recommendation to finding what your mantra is?
Yeah. So if you want to do very specific transcendental meditation, your guru will give you your mantra.
Okay.
I do not do that, but there are people all over the place that do. And I remember talking to a client about that. And he said, when I meditate, I have a mantra. And I said, what is it? And he goes, I can't tell you. And I thought he was kidding because we were constantly joking. And I said, no, seriously, I'm not going to tell you. And he goes, no, I can't tell you. It was given to me, for me, by my guru. And I went, whoa. When I teach the mini, that has a mantra that goes along with it. You can say you can say Om, you could say Mother Mary, you could say I am at peace, you could say love, kindness, you can make it your own. Or if you can do something more formal like TM, they'll give it to you.
Okay. Excellent. And then we got, what was this one right here that says, okay, well, I know Boris, he loves telling me about his beer. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad that your beer of choice is Coors Light. I love you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Here's a good one. Is it being present to your thoughts or to your emotions? I feel as though a thought brings on other thoughts, which is, I'm totally with you on that. When I think of something, I usually end up thinking other things. And, when we were talking about being present to the thoughts, I guess I didn't even take into account emotions too. Emotions can be huge, especially when meditating.
Yep, absolutely. And, there's a debate about, does the emotion bring on the thought or does the thought bring on the emotion? You could do whatever you want. If a thought leads to a thought, watch it. Acknowledge that, I thought about my childhood cat. Oh, and that reminded me of this cartoon I watched. Oh, well, that's weird. That reminded me of Garfield, which reminded me of lasagna, which reminded me,
which reminded me, I forgot to make dinner tonight.
Right. I'm starving. So that can lead to whatever. As far as the emotions, if you can this is a society where we're taught to shove emotions, stuff emotions. Emotions are ugly and they don't feel good sometimes and they're scary. If you can sit and honor that emotion, to me, that is such a huge thing. And, you know, as women, we're taught we're too emotional. And as men, you guys are taught don't have emotion. I'm vastly generalizing. But if you can sit in those emotions and feel that thing, emotions guide us into action. Emotions are put the hot hand on, the hand on the hot stove and go, ooh, you don't stay there and go, oh, well, that's really hot. That's burning. I smell something funky. You don't hold your hand there. Just like your listeners, just honor that emotion. What is that leading you to? What is that telling you that is good, bad, not even good or bad? What is that telling you that's leading you towards action? So if as a meditation, you want to observe that emotion, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. Another one right here. I think Neff, love you, Neff. I think you were trying to say, how do you shut off the to-dos? I think we kind of, I don't think there is a way to shut it off, but like we were saying, like you were saying, just be present to how your thoughts are linking to each other. But I think also me personally, because I get into that to-do list, and then next thing I know, I've got this list in my head and I don't even know why I'm sitting there with my hands up like this. But I think maybe when you recognize that you're going down the to-do list, recognize that and say, okay, I know that this is for another time. I'm meant to do this. And,
well, and I was going to that point, one of the great things about meditation and mindfulness is it's about being present. And the to-do list is someplace else. Yeah. It's the things you should have done that were due yesterday that you didn't quite get to yet. Or 20 years ago that you're bringing forward. Or it's stuff that you have to do later. In this present moment, there's no stress. There's no problems. It's just staying present and bringing yourself back to your breath, back to a body sensation. That helps to shut out that to-do list.
Excellent. And then my good friend, Mr. Ed Namrock podcast, he will be going live later on tonight. Make sure you check him out. Shout out to Ed Namrock podcast on Facebook and YouTube. He'll be going at 10 o'clock talking about aliens, if I'm not mistaken. So watch out for that one. I love it. It's always great. But he brings up something interesting. Meditating in specific climate temperatures. Is that something? I mean, really hot. Like Bikram yoga. Do you have like Bikram meditation, maybe in a sauna or something? Or
throughout history, people who meditate have used extreme temperatures. As a form of getting them into meditation. So you get into a, oh my God, what is it called when you get into the hut and it's really hot? A sweat lodge.
Oh, yeah.
That would help to generate that feeling of meditation. There was a great study done with the folks at Harvard. They went to these monks who would meditate to the point where they could control their body temperature, and they put them in like ice cold temperatures, and they put blankets on them. And they had generated such heat amongst themselves from meditation that they could warm the blankets on their body, and you could see the steam rising off these blankets.
Way.
I mean, it was just like that mind control, that body control. They've done so many really cool studies about how strong and powerful our brain is. And one of the studies that I actually quoted in my PhD, and I don't know the point of this necessarily, but they did a study where they had people using visualization make one half of their body hotter than the other half of their body. So, and you could actually, with a temperature gauge, know that the right arm was hotter than the left arm. Now,
like ambidextrous heat.
Ambidextrous heat. Now, but we say, well, what's the point of making your right arm hotter? The point of that is to realize we have such amazing control over our physiology, over what we're thinking, over what we're feeling. Our brains are so incredible. And one of the benefits of meditation is you're amazing. One of the benefits of meditation is it keeps us present in the state where we can make changes. We can, craft our future. We can program what we want to achieve. Being present in that meditation state changes so many things about our lives. And if someone would have told me that I'd be more productive, more present, a better leader, a better communicator, better in relationship, less stressed, more physically fit, more physically healthy, good Lord, I would have figured out how to meditate at 20. Nobody told me any of those things. It's amazing. It's an amazing tool.
Well, I'm 42. I'm looking forward to learning and practicing this week. So, I do want to touch on what Boris put in a pretty interesting comment which now, if anybody knows me, I'm not a very good reader, but I'm going to do this anyways. I used to be such a spiritual person right before I came to this country. 20 plus years later, not too much. I can't ever find the time. I'm assuming that's what he's saying. There's not enough time in the day to keep up with the responsibilities. No way to take the time to relax or allow myself to let go for a bit and reset. I truly need help with this. So with that being said, I think he's speaking to I think he's probably speaking for the majority of people that are watching this, me included. There's a lot of times I feel like I've got so much going on. It's difficult to even find the time to reset, to set that time to meditate. So personal question on behalf of Boris for this, would you recommend like a certain, maybe putting it into your schedule or, a certain amount of time? Does it need to be a long amount of time? Can you do this,
That's such an awesome question, because when I do these talks, this is one of my main topics for workshops and conferences and keynotes. And inevitably someone raises their hand and says, I don't have time.
Yes. Here's
the reality of this. We all get 24 hours.
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, we choose how we spend our time.
True.
I love scheduling it in. And when I work with coaching clients, I say, when do you have 5 minutes that you can schedule in a break? So here's the other thing. If you seriously don't have time, I don't have kids, I don't work for somebody else, I can, to a certain extent, adjust my schedule as needed. But there are days it's freaking crazy, right?
Absolutely.
Do you brush your teeth?
Sometimes.
Cool. Do you go to the bathroom? Do you take a shower? Do you prepare your meals? Do you do the dishes? You can turn any of those things into an opportunity for meditation and mindfulness. And the mindfulness practice is sort of an offshoot of meditation. Mindfulness is simply going about an activity with presence, with focus, bringing all of your senses in. And if other thoughts intrude, which they will, dismissing them without judgment. So if you're going to do the dishes mindfully, what does the water feel like on your hands? What's the temperature? Can you feel the sliminess of the soap? Oop, there's a little piece of food on a dish you missed. You take a deep breath. What is that orange, that lemon coming up off the sink? And you open your eyes and you see the bubbles forming, and you hear the water pouring in and the crackling of the bubbles and the dishes clinking. And inevitably, every time I put the bottle of soap down and this little bubble goes bloop off the top of the soap bottle, and it floats up and it spins. There's this little rainbow inside, and it always heads towards the light. And then suddenly it goes boop with this little spray of water. And if you do that for 5 minutes while you're doing the dishes, you suddenly have a sink of clean dishes, and you've been present for that 5 minutes. Presence is as simple as meeting the eyes of the cashier at Starbucks and saying, thank you so much, as opposed to, yeah, thank you, and shoving your change in your wallet. Presence is contagious. You can't not be present with someone that's being present with you.
So
Sorry,
go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, so what I'm getting from this is that there's a multitude of ways that we can meditate. There are the people that can sit down on the pillow and have their Zen garden on their patio and their candles and this, and if that's what puts them in that, and they feel that's the way that they can meditate, that's awesome. But for someone like Boris, who is running around crazy, I know Boris, and he's always doing stuff. So for someone like that, maybe meditation for him is maybe a starting point. Like you said, maybe it's doing the dishes. Maybe it's just finding that 5 minutes to center yourself to, I mean, I'm assuming I'm probably going to do this in the shower. I'll probably turn on the hot water and just, okay, let me take a chill right now and clear my thoughts. So I like the fact that there's so many different levels to this.
It's so adaptable. And so this is so perfect. So can I teach you the mini meditation?
Please.
Okay.
Please.
So when I went to Harvard the first time, I did a week-long program with them, and it was like the the rock stars of mind body medicine. Like, I knew all these people. I knew their studies. I was so geeking out on this whole thing. And this woman comes in and she says, now we're going to meditate. And I thought, oh, shit. Oh, no, because I'm terrible at it, right? And she said, let's go over the rules of meditation. And I expected the fingers and the tongue and the eyes and the bubbles. And, I expected all this stuff. And she said, there's 2 rules of meditation. Concentrate on something repetitive. And when thoughts intrude, dismiss them without judgment. And I got so excited about that because I knew it's not if, let's be honest, it's when. Yeah. Every 3 to 5 seconds, our brain goes bang. So this is the way she taught us. So I would love you all to do this. If you're in a place where you can safely, close your eyes.
Okay.
And just concentrate on your breathing. The inhale and the exhale. Not trying to change it, not trying to slow it down or speed it up. Just noticing it. And on your next inhale, think, I am. And on all of your inhales, think, I am. And on your next exhale, think, at peace. And on all of your exhales, think, at peace. Inhale, I am. Exhale, at peace. And when other thoughts intrude, it's totally okay. Just dismiss them without judgment. Let them float away like clouds on a summer day. And return to the inhale, I am. Exhale, at peace. And you can move your body if you want to. You can scratch that itch. You can fix that cramp. You can let your shoulders drop. You can let your belly relax because no one's looking. And just do that. Inhale, I am. Exhale, at peace. Go ahead and take one more deep breath. Inhale, I am. Exhale, at peace. And open the eyes and come back to the room. That's how she taught us. And when she said, open your eyes and come back to the room, I went,
nope, I want to stay. Nope. I want to stay in the at peace moment.
Because that was the first time I felt what that was supposed to feel like. And that has become, sorry for the vernacular, my gateway drug to formal seated meditation. And I think had I not experienced that with her, where it was as simple as breathing, as soon as you concentrate on your breath, it brings you back to the present moment. It gives you that opportunity to pause, to decide whether you're going to respond or react, shuts off the fight or flight response, brings you back to your body, which helps shut out other thoughts. And then when you add the I am at peace, you can't think 2 things at once. So you can't think about the to-do list and I am at peace.
So that's awesome.
This has been the most amazing thing. You could do it in the car. Don't shut your eyes. That creates a whole other set of problems. You could do this for 30 seconds. And as you were doing that phenomenal minute-long countdown, what was I doing? I am at peace.
Ah, that's so cool. That's beautiful. That's awesome. And you know what? So Boris at home, I hope you, first of all, I hope everybody who's watching, I hope you guys did that exercise if you were in a place where you can do that exercise. And for those of you that are listening to this after the fact, maybe on Spotify or on Anchor, I hope that you take advantage of even just the, that little 2 to 3 minutes worth of guided meditation and something so simple and something so powerful that, I'm going to go back and use this plenty of times. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that gift. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And you don't have to close your eyes and you don't have to contort yourself into some position. And, I'm from the East Coast originally, so little aggressive when I drive, And,
maybe this much.
This much. So you get to that, you see the light turn yellow and you're like, I get to go. And the guy in front of you slams on the brakes and stops and you're like, ah, and you can't move that guy. They frown on that. So why am I freaking out about this? Why am I putting myself into a stressed fight or flight state, which is tremendously unhealthy for me. So you know what I do? I take my hands off the steering wheel, I stare at the light, and I am at peace until it turns green.
Oh, you're just dropping gold right now. You're literally just dropping gold on everyone. So we're all from LA, which is pretty aggressive driving as well.
I miss it so much.
I challenge everyone who's watching this. The next time you are don't close your eyes though, but next time you are at a red light, take your hands off of the wheel and do exactly what Dr. Kathy Gruver is telling you to do, and concentrate on your breathing and the whole I am at peace. I am going to do that. And hopefully it stops me from screaming at people and flipping them off and honking the horn, and which normally that's my meditation.
The horn honking meditation. I love it.
Normally my meditation is, that's how I can take a deep breath by, screaming at people and honking. But I think I'm going to take your advice on that one. That's definitely a lot better than what I've been doing.
I appreciate that. Well, and let's just talk about why we would do this, right? So when you're in a fight or flight response, that is for a physiological threat. You're walking through the jungle, something jumps out, and you mount this massive fight or flight response, which we learned about in like 9th grade biology. That is awesome if you have to run from a tiger, jump from a snake, you're getting, harassed in an alley. That's the time for that. The problem now is our stress is not this short-lived dynamic stressor. It's the taxes, the COVID, the mother-in-law moved in.
It's the long-term.
These long-term low-grade or high-grade stressors. And the key to the fight or flight response is once the danger passes, once the tiger leaves us alone, we rest, we sleep, and all of those chemicals go back to normal. Well, we aren't doing that now. There is no respite from this stress. And now our stress is not this physical thing. It's the boss wants to see us Monday and we freak ourselves out all weekend. That is not fight or flight worthy. That is not why we have this physiological thing. So to the certain extent, our stress is in what our perception of stress is. And the more we see negativity and the more we see stressful things, the more we see. Ooh, okay, so everybody right now, I want you to look around the room you're in and find everything you can that's red. Find everything in your room that's red. Ooh, a lot of red stuff today. Okay. Memorize everything you can that's red. Awesome. Now, close your eyes and remember everything you saw that was blue.
I got a few things.
It's drastically unfair, though, because most people go, I didn't look at the blue. This is what happens with stress and negativity. If we're so focused on the negative things, we don't even see the positive stuff. So if we can shift our focus into looking at something else, we're going to start to shift our brain into seeing more positive things. The more positive stuff we see, the more positive stuff we're going to attract.
Yes. And that's why I think that this is so important right here, that if we're going to keep talking about the mother-in-law, that we need another meditation. Love you, Brent. Thank you.
I'm having a psychic moment.
that's perfectly spoken right there. But I think it's interesting what you brought up about how I remember reading a few things in one of my classes. I'm back in college because I'm trying to follow in the footsteps. I'm trying to get my bachelor's and move on. But I was taking a few classes, and I remember talking about the physiology of us now versus back in I don't know if it was really like caveman days or anything, but like you were saying, that the stress that we get from when a saber-toothed tiger jumps out and we got to run for our lives, that adrenaline boost, that everything that you're feeling at that moment, it goes away once everything is okay. But like you said, with the stress levels that we have now, it's a different type of stress. So it's more of a psychological stress, and we carry that with us, even though it's not physically around us. We're not physically in danger, but we're still carrying that stress with us. And I wonder if that causes like a physiological change in our body chemistry, in our thoughts, in our perceptions. And I'm assuming that it does. I don't have any facts to back that up, but I'm gonna say that it's probably true that happens. And the fact that has changed us in modern times now, having a good foundation in meditation and being able to be present, being able to concentrate on our breath and on our thoughts and understand that. I think that's so important right now that nobody's really talking about. So hopefully more people can watch podcasts like this one. People can follow you and learn more about this. And hopefully it can, even if it changes their lives just on a small level, then I feel like we did a good job today, and I'm just so grateful for you to come on and teach me this. I'm jumping in. Like I told you last week, I kind of had a character building week. It wasn't a bad week, but it definitely built my character a little bit. So moving forward, I think I'm going to use these tools and try. I don't know if I can apply them every day. I'm going to try to. I'm going to do my best. Would you recommend that this is something that people should wake up with or go to sleep with or in the middle of the day?
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to very strict meditators, the ones that sit on the pillow every day for a certain amount of time with the dinging bells that get you in and out of it, and I now know how to do that. I can do that. I do that. I try to do that every day. They're going to say that their way is the way, and that what I taught with the mini meditation, that's not really meditation. Meditation shouldn't be used to go to sleep. It shouldn't be used to relax. Meditation is not relaxing. This is why you sit upright, you sit on a pillow, you have your hands hovering so that you're not like, ugh.
Yeah.
And what I said with Daniel Brown, we would get into this meditation that he'd teach us, and out of the clear blue sky in the middle of the meditation, he'd clap his hands and go, "Wake up!" Because he could see, like the room kind of doing that thing. That's not the point of meditation. To me, if you have trouble sleeping and you do a meditation to sleep, good for you. Whatever works for you. To me, it's all about customization. And maybe you're not a sitter. I'm a dancer. So you tell me to sit still, that is not my thing. Do a walking meditation. Do Tai Chi. Make running a meditation. There's so many different ways to do it. And I'm reading what Brett's comment was, is there a way to calm physical pain?
Yeah, let me put this up here. This is really good, I think. So my neighbor Brett just put up, is there a way to calm physical pain? Like an example of, say you could be stubbing your toe versus someone dealing with chemotherapy. Can people use the tools from meditation to help them out with physical pain? Yes.
People who meditate long-term, more formally, tend to have pain is so subjective, right? There's really no way to measure that. We can say on a scale of 1 to 10, but my 7 is everybody else's 15. I have a ridiculous tolerance for pain. Okay. So that is really hard to measure. But the perception of pain in long-term meditators is less. They typically measure that with putting hands in ice water. It's one of the safest ways to measure pain response. People who are long-term meditators have the ability to stop that pain response, that reaction to that pain. The other thing is, and I'm a hypnotherapist as well, hypnotherapy, meditation, very similar state. I can turn off pain in people using hypnosis. Wow. Now, you want to be careful with that because pain is a sign that something's wrong. So if someone's having chronic headaches, you don't want to turn that off and miss, the brain tumor.
That would be bad.
That would be bad. But once we know what is causing the pain, if it's a chronic pain that we know why it's happening and there's no good reason for it to be messaging us that this is an issue, it is time to turn that off. And we can do that using meditation, visualization. Visualization, so huge with this stuff, and hypnosis.
Okay. Mr. Ed Namrock, Edgar Hernandez brings up a good point here. Kathy, what are your thoughts on listening to alpha and delta waves while meditating?
Yeah.
Now, personally, I don't know what that is. Can you explain what I have no idea. I thought it said alpha beta for a second, and I was like, dude, they went out of business a long time ago, bro. Like,
it's my favorite sorority. No, there are meditation CDs or MP3s and recordings that have different waves and like binaural beats and things like that. Okay. I love stuff like that. I don't do that personally. I literally just sit on my pillow in front of the altar that I put together and I just do that thing. Okay. A lot of my massage music has that kind of stuff underneath it. It's really good at getting people into a different state. If that's your thing, do that thing. I'm all for it.
I might actually look into that because being a musician and being surrounded by music, and I think that, I don't know, maybe I'll
Yeah.
test that out with the I am at peace as well.
Well, and to this point, so
Mhm.
people learn in different ways. I am a visual kinesthetic. So if you tell me to visualize something, it is there. It is in
Yeah.
color. It is movable. I am not auditory. If you put on an audiobook for me, I hear like I'm not getting any of it. Did you just snarf your beer?
Almost.
Okay, go.
Literally, it was like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah,
That's
wah,
what
wah.
I hear. I don't get any of it. So for someone
Okay.
who's auditory, who wants to experience that with it, that might be a better way for them to get into the meditation. So yeah.
I just realized last week during my school crisis, I was reaching out to one of my professors. I even let her know that online school is very difficult for me because I'm the kid. Even at 42 years old, I'm the guy who sits in the front row, raises my hand, not afraid to ask questions. Hey, I'm paying for school. I want to make sure I understand what is going on. So, and when I see it and I hear it, I'm more of a, I don't know what that's called, but if I hear something, I'm decent with it. If I see something, I'm decent with it. But if I hear it and see it, I'm gold. I got this. So the hard part about being online for me is I can only see it, or I can't really ask the questions, or vice versa. So for me, I've done this before where I've bought the physical book of what I wanted to read. And I know you were talking about Dan Brown earlier, not the author, but I'm going to talk about the author because I loved his books. So
I do too. He's one of my favorites.
Yes, and I know, and it's not just the Da Vinci Code, but like the Angels, the Deception Point. That there were so many good ones. So I remember buying the book and I got the audio because I wanted it, for me anyways. I read along while listening to it in that, and man, I got it so much more. So
so cool
with different books. I'm more of that. So maybe I don't know, for me, this is just for me personally, but maybe moving forward and trying to utilize the tips that we're learning tonight with meditation, I might be able to use the I am at peace with some type of audio as well. I think the sky's the limit for everybody out there. Try your thing. And I think as long as everybody is just using the focus of being present and being present to your thoughts, like you said, catching the dragon at the beginning instead of at the tail. And what did you say earlier about just letting it go, just knowing when the thoughts come in, but letting
just watching it float by. Some people picture it literally floating out like a cloud. Some people picture it on a blackboard and then it erases. Like as it's writing, it's erasing at the same time. There are times where even still, sometimes I will do a meditation where I specifically focus on what am I hearing right now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can hear the refrigerator. I can hear the cat. Oh, there's a car outside somewhere. I use that as my meditation. Or I'll say, let me watch my thoughts. And I'll literally like kind of sit back and go, okay, bring it. I've done a lot of studying with Eckhart Tolle, who I love his stuff. And one of the things he says that if you really want to have a quiet mind for just a couple seconds when you're in meditation is to say, I wonder what my next thought is going to be. And then wait. Because you would be surprised how long you're waiting before the next thought comes. And if it's 3 seconds of beautiful silence, that's awesome.
Yes,
if it's 7 seconds,
even
if it's
more
12 seconds, if it's and I've done that where it's like, I wonder what my next thought will be. And then I wait. And like a lot of time goes by. That is the best respite of this blah, 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 of the chatter of our we know we exist because our ego is thinking stuff. If for a brief second we can stop that thinking and we're just purely in this present moment of existence and the ego is not there having to exist and we're just this being and not this human, it's amazing.
Excellent. Well, I'm getting a lot of good feedback right now with people that are commenting and people that are watching and laughing and enjoying it and just taking all the tips in. This is fantastic. I believe we do have a few minutes left. If you had any last comments, any last little tips that we can take home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole loving kindness thing because that is like long.
Okay.
And probably, well, I'm just really, it's like, 10 to 15 minutes and there's a lot of silence, which is great for radio.
Yeah, right.
I encourage people to ask your favorite search engine for loving kindness meditation. And there's actually one that has a recording that you follow along with. And it basically, I don't want to say the word blesses because that makes it a religious thing. It honors the love in you. It honors the love to other people. It honors the love out and cycles it from people who are close to you to people who you sort of know to people who you don't like to the world. And it is one of the most beautifully moving things. And when I'm live and in person and I do that meditation, inevitably everybody opens their eyes after 10 or 15 minutes and they're crying. And
Oh, wow.
it's just a way to tap into that love. And don't we all need a little more love right now?
Right
It
now,
is,
especially.
it's been such a stressful year, and so
Yeah.
many people are feeling alone and
Yeah.
sequestered and shut down. And this is a way to expand that love out. And that's one of the things that meditation does is it connects us with every other being. And one of the other things that Eckhart Tolle talks about is, if we picture ourselves as, you're out on the ocean and there's these little white caps that pop up, right? If each one of us is one of those little white caps, we're individuals. But if we realize we're part of that whole ocean and that we are so intricately connected, that's where the magic lies.
I love it. Did I spell this correctly? I put this up here. Loving kindness meditation. I did that on the fly.
You did. I watched you just like.
I'm learning. I'm getting there. I'm trying every week to have to learn from my podcast and make the next one even better. So, so everybody at home, if you're listening to this, go to Google, look up loving kindness meditation. And I'm assuming that you can probably look it up on YouTube as well. I'm sure you'll be able to find some cool stuff on there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty awesome. Well, Dr. Kathy Gruver, I just want to thank you so much for spending your Tuesday with me once again. Always learning from you, and always such a pleasure to have a conversation with you. I can't wait for me and Marlene to come and visit. I want to jump up on that trapeze thing of yours because it's so crazy. And I just saw a video of you, and everybody at home and everybody who's listening, go to Kathy Gruver's Facebook page and watch her videos of her doing trapeze. She did this whole backflip and it scared the crap out of me, but she landed it. She killed it. It was awesome. So I can't wait for us to come up and visit you. I definitely want to jump up on that trapeze. So we've got a few seconds left. If you would like to, please let everybody know where they can find you on social media and elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm all over social media as Kathy Gruver or Dr. Kathy Gruver. My website is kathygruver.com or kathygruver.coach. I do one-on-one coaching and I help people with stress, mindfulness, relationships. I love coaching around relationships and communication, conflict, that sort of thing. Just connect with me. I know a lot of you from the first episode that I did connected, and I'm really happy to have you in my little pod. So thank you so much for having me. I have a challenge for you, Whit.
Okay, I'll take it. What's up?
When you come up to Santa Barbara and we get you on that trapeze, I want to do some recordings that we make into a podcast.
Oh, I'm so with that. We'll connect beforehand. I've got some GoPros. I got some. I got some fun stuff that we can. We'll put something out. We'll put something out on YouTube and show people how crazy it is and how much fun it is.
Absolutely, best thing ever.
All right, guys. So just so you guys know, next week, please tune in at 7:00 on Tuesday. What's the date next week? I don't even know. The 23rd. The 23rd. If you guys are taking a look at this on the 5 Foot Viking podcast, we are going to be talking about Android versus iPhone. Now, this is not a fight. This isn't. We're not fighting against each other. We're not saying this one's better than this one. I really just want to dive into the pros and cons of both devices because I have friends who are diehard iPhone users and I have friends who are diehard Android. So we're going to be talking with my friend Hector Flaco Rodriguez. I have known him forever, and he has worked at pretty much every single phone provider under the sun. I met him at Singular, then he was with AT&T, then in Sprint. I believe he's with T-Mobile, or he's worked everywhere. So the fact that he has worked in so many different providers, I think gives him a very unique perspective. So join us next week as we talk about iPhone versus Android. And Kathy Gruver, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, honey, for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, guys, that's it for the 5 Foot Viking podcast. Love you all. Drink a beer, stay safe. And I think this is how you end it.